The morning sun shone through the tall windows of Lecture Hall 7 at the Galactic University. Professor stood at the front of the room, her dark hair pulled back in a neat style. She wore her usual white lab coat over simple clothes. Behind her, a large screen showed pictures of different animals from across the galaxy. The students sat in rows of curved desks. Most of them were not human. There was Kex, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms. Next to him sat Mora, whose people came from a water world and had gills on her neck. Behind them stretched his long, thin body across 2 chairs. His people were known for being very tall. In the back row, Jun sat by himself. He was the only human in the class. His black hair was a bit messy, and he wore a simple blue shirt. He had been at the university for 3 months now. Earth had only joined the Galactic Union 2 years ago, so humans were still new to most aliens. Professor touched her data pad, and the screen changed. Now it showed a sealed glass box with small glass bottles inside. Each bottle had a different colored liquid. "Today we will study the most dangerous natural toxins known to science," Professor said. Her voice was calm and clear. "These samples come from many different worlds. They represent the deadliest poisons that nature has made." The alien students leaned forward with interest. A few looked worried. Kex's 4 hands gripped his desk. Mora's gills fluttered faster, which meant she was nervous. Professor walked to a table where the real glass box sat. She put on thick gloves and opened the box carefully. The students could see 12 small bottles, each one labeled with strange writing. "This first sample," she said, picking up a bottle with yellow liquid, "comes from the death crawler. Just 1 drop of this toxin can kill in less than 30 seconds. She held up the bottle so everyone could see. "Weigh about 800 pounds, as you know." Several students made worried sounds. "We're known for being very hard to hurt." "This next one," Professor continued, picking up a bottle with green liquid, "is from the spiral snakes of 442b. The poison attacks the nervous system. Most beings die in 15 seconds. She set it down gently. "Even with our best medical care, the survival rate is less than 5%. Jun raised his hand. "Professor, are these samples safe to have in the classroom?" Professor smiled. "Of course, Jun, these are heavily diluted. Each sample has been weakened to about 1% of its normal strength. Even if a bottle broke, it would not hurt anyone." "That is good to know," said Kex, his 4 arms relaxing a little. Professor picked up a bottle with clear liquid. "This sample is very special. It comes from your home world. Jun, this is venom from an Earth creature called a king cobra." The alien students turned to look at Jun. He seemed interested but not scared. "The king cobra is one of Earth's most dangerous snakes," Professor explained. "Its venom can kill a human in 20 minutes without treatment. For most galactic species, death would come much faster." Jun squinted at the bottle. He leaned forward in his chair to get a better look. "Professor, are you sure this sample is diluted?" Professor checked her data pad. "Yes, of course. Like all the others, it has been reduced to 1% strength. Why do you ask?" Jun scratched his head. "Well, it looks really weak to me. Are you sure it's not diluted even more than that?" The classroom became very quiet. Professor blinked in surprise. "What do you mean weak?" "I mean it just looks really thin, like water almost." Jun pointed at the bottle. "When my uncle got bit by a king cobra back on Earth, the venom was much thicker and more yellow. This looks like someone mixed it with a lot of water." The alien students stared at Jun with wide eyes. Mora's gills stopped moving completely. His long neck stretched even further as he leaned forward. "Jun," Professor said slowly, "your uncle was bitten by a king cobra, and he survived." "Oh yeah, he was fine. Well, mostly fine. He felt sick for a few days and his arm swelled up pretty bad, but the doctors gave him some medicine and he was back to work in a week." Jun shrugged. "He said it hurt a lot, but it wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to him." Kex made a strange choking sound with all four of his throats. The worst thing. This was not the worst thing. Nah, he said getting stung by those giant hornets was worse, and the time he got food poisoning from bad fish was way worse than the snake bite. Jun looked around at all the staring faces. What? Did I say something wrong? Professor set down the bottle very carefully. Her hands were shaking a little. Jun, when you say giant hornets, how giant do you mean? Oh, about 2 inches long, maybe a little bigger. They're called Asian giant hornets. My uncle got stung by 3 of them when he was fixing his roof. He said that hurt for days. The silence in the room was so complete that everyone could hear the air system humming. Professor looked at her data pad, then at Jun, then back at the bottle of snake venom. Class, she said in a voice that sounded a bit strange, I think we need to end today's lesson early. I have some research to do. The alien students packed up their things quickly. They kept looking at Jun as they left. Jun seemed confused by all the attention. He gathered his books slowly and walked toward the door. Jun, Professor called out, could you please stay for a few minutes? I have some questions about Earth's wildlife. Jun nodded and walked back to her desk. Sure, Professor. Is everything okay? Everyone seemed really upset when I talked about my uncle. Professor looked at the bottles of poison again. Then she looked at Jun, who seemed perfectly normal and calm. She had a feeling that everything she thought she knew about humans was about to change. Professor sat down at her desk and turned on her computer. The screen glowed with data about different toxins and poisons. Jun stood nearby, still looking confused about why the other students had acted so strange. Jun, please sit down, Professor said, pointing to a chair next to her desk. I need to ask you some very important questions about humans and Earth. Jun sat down and set his books on the floor. Okay, but I'm not really an expert on biology or anything. I'm just taking this class because I need science credits. Professor opened a new file on her computer. That's fine. I just want to know about normal human life. Tell me more about your uncle and the snake bite. You said the doctors gave him medicine. Yeah, antivenom. It's pretty common medicine on Earth. Most hospitals keep it around because snake bites happen sometimes. Jun thought for a moment. Actually, my uncle had to wait about 4 hours before he got to the hospital. The bite happened when he was camping in the mountains. Professor stopped typing. 4 hours. He waited 4 hours with King Cobra venom in his system. Well, he drove himself to the hospital. He said his vision got a bit blurry and he felt dizzy, but he could still drive okay. Jun smiled. He's a tough guy. He used to be in the military. Jun, I need you to understand something. Professor pulled up a chart on her screen. According to this data, King Cobra venom should kill most galactic species in less than 10 minutes. Even with immediate medical care, the survival rate for my people is only about 30%. Jun looked at the chart with interest. Huh, that's weird. I mean, King Cobra bites are dangerous, but they're not usually deadly if you get help fast enough. Maybe Earth cobras are different from the ones on other planets. Professor shook her head. No, Jun, we tested the exact same species. The samples in my classroom came directly from Earth. The Galactic Health Organization has been studying Earth toxins since your planet joined the Union. Oh, Jun scratched his head again. Well, maybe humans are just used to it. I mean, we've been living with dangerous animals for thousands of years. Professor felt a strange feeling in her stomach. She pulled up another file. Jun, tell me about these giant hornets you mentioned. Asian giant hornets. Yeah, they're pretty nasty. They're about 2 inches long with a really painful sting. Some people call them murder hornets. Jun laughed. Stupid name, really. They only kill about 40 people per year in Japan. That's not very many when you think about it. Professor's hand stopped moving on the keyboard. 40 people per year, out of how many who get stung? Oh, thousands of people get stung every year. Most just go to the doctor and get some medicine for the pain and swelling. The people who die are usually allergic or get stung too many times. Jun paused. My uncle got stung 3 times at once, but he's fine. He just took some pain medicine and put ice on it. Professor opened another file and started typing very fast. She pulled up the galactic database on known toxins. The entry for Asian giant hornet venom made her feel sick. Jun, according to our research, 1 sting from these hornets would put A in the hospital for weeks. 3 stings would probably kill them. Really? Jun looked surprised. That seems like a lot. I mean, they hurt, but they're not that bad. My little sister got stung by a regular wasp last summer and cried more than my uncle did with the hornets. Professor rubbed her head. She was getting a headache. Tell me about other dangerous things on Earth. What about your food? Our food, Jun thought about it. Well, some things are bad for you if you eat too much. Like alcohol can make you sick if you drink too much of it. Yes, we know about ethanol toxicity, but what about plants? Are there poisonous plants that humans eat? Jun laughed. Oh yeah, tons. We eat all kinds of stuff that's technically poisonous. Like chocolate is poisonous to dogs, but humans love it, and coffee beans are toxic to most animals. Professor pulled up the database entry for caffeine. Her face went pale. Jun, caffeine is classified as a Class 2 neurotoxin in galactic databases. The amount in 1 cup of coffee would make most species very sick. But humans drink coffee all the time. Some people drink like 10 cups a day. Jun looked worried now. Professor, are you feeling okay? You look really pale. Professor ignored his question. What about alcohol? How much can humans drink? Well, that depends on the person. Some people can't drink at all, but others can drink quite a bit. I know people who can drink a whole bottle of wine with dinner and feel fine. Professor checked the alcohol toxicity chart. A whole bottle of wine contained enough ethanol to kill 3. Jun, I need to make some calls. Can you wait here for a few minutes? Sure, but can I ask what's going on? You seem really worried about something. Professor stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at the campus where alien students walked between buildings. Some of them looked so fragile compared to the human sitting behind her. Jun, I think we may have made a serious mistake when we classified your species. We thought humans were similar to most galactic races. We thought Earth was a normal planet with normal dangers. Jun stood up too. What do you mean? Professor turned around to face him. I mean, your uncle survived something that would kill most of the intelligent species in this galaxy. You just told me that humans regularly consume neurotoxins for pleasure. You eat foods that would put other beings in the hospital. But that's just normal stuff, Jun said. Everyone on Earth does those things. That's exactly the problem. Professor sat back down at her computer. Jun, I think your people might be the most toxin-resistant species we've ever encountered. And if I'm right, it means Earth is far more dangerous than anyone realized. Jun sat back down too. So what happens now? Professor opened her communication program. Now I need to call some people at the Galactic Health Organization and the Xenobiology Department, and probably the Defense Council too. The Defense Council, why them? Professor looked at Jun, who seemed like such a normal, friendly young man. It was hard to believe he might be nearly indestructible compared to most galactic life. Because Jun, if humans can survive things that kill everyone else, that makes your species either very lucky or very dangerous. And in my experience, luck usually isn't the answer. Dr. Han answered his phone on the 3rd ring. He was the head of the Galactic Health Organization's Xenobiology Research Division. His office was on the other side of the campus, in a building made of white stone. Professor, this is unusual. You never call during class hours. Dr. Han's voice sounded tired. He had been working late nights on a project about alien diseases. Han, I need you to drop everything and come to my lab right now. Bring your emergency research team, Professor said. She was packing around her office while Jun sat quietly in his chair. What's the emergency? Did someone get exposed to toxins? No, it's worse than that. I think we've been completely wrong about human biology. Professor stopped packing and looked at Jun. How fast can you get here? Give me 20 minutes, but you're scaring me. What did you find? Professor hung up the phone and turned to Jun. I need to ask you more questions while we wait. This is very important. Jun nodded. Okay, but I still don't understand what's happening. Professor pulled up a chair and sat across from him. Jun, I want you to think about your life on Earth. Tell me about times when you or people you know got sick from things that should have been dangerous. Jun thought for a moment. Well, my friend Lee ate some bad mushrooms once when we were camping. He found them in the woods and thought they looked edible. What happened to him? He got really sick for about 2 days. He threw up a lot and felt terrible, but then he got better. Jun shrugged. My mom was mad at him for being so stupid. Professor opened her computer and searched for information about wild mushrooms on Earth. What she found made her stomach feel sick. Many Earth mushrooms contained enough poison to kill a horse. Jun, do you know what kind of mushrooms he ate? Mom said they were death cap mushrooms. She knew because she used to work as a nurse. Jun smiled. She made Lee promise never to eat wild mushrooms again. Professor stared at her computer screen. Death cap mushrooms were listed as one of the most deadly natural toxins known to science. The amount Lee had eaten should have destroyed his liver and killed him within hours. Your friend just threw up for 2 days. He didn't go to the hospital. Nah, Mom just made sure he drank lots of water and ate some medicine for his stomach. She said he was lucky he didn't eat more of them. Professor typed notes as fast as she could. She was starting to feel scared about what she might discover. Dr. Han arrived with 3 other researchers. Doctor was a specialist in alien toxins. Dr. Park studied comparative biology. Doctor worked with the medical emergency response team. All right, what's this emergency? Dr. Han asked as he came into the office. Professor pointed to Jun. This is Jun, my human student. Jun, could you tell them about your uncle and the snake bite? Jun told the story again. When he finished, all 4 researchers were staring at him with their mouths open. Doctor was the first to speak. That's impossible. King Cobra venom has a mortality rate of 98% for most galactic species. That's what I thought too, Professor said, but it gets worse. She told them about the hornets, the mushrooms, and the coffee. With each story, the researchers looked more worried. Dr. Park pulled out her data pad and started typing. I need to access the Earth medical databases right now. I already started, Professor said. She turned her computer screen so everyone could see. Look at this. Humans have hospitals specifically for poison treatment. They see thousands of cases every year. Thousands? Doctor leaned forward to read the screen. What kinds of poisoning? Professor scrolled through the data. Snake bites, spider bites, plant poisoning, food poisoning, chemical exposure, drug overdoses. The list goes on and on. And they survive these? Dr. Han asked. Not just survive. Look at the survival rates. Professor clicked on a chart. 95% of snake bite victims survive with treatment. 80% survive without any treatment at all. Doctor sat down heavily in a chair. This can't be right. We tested those same snake species. One bite from an earth rattlesnake put our test subjects into coma within minutes. What test subjects? Jun asked. Laboratory animals from various worlds. Standard procedure for toxin research. Doctor looked at Jun with new interest. Jun, have you ever been bitten by a snake? Not a poisonous one, but I got bit by a spider once. A black widow. All 5 researchers made shocked sounds. A black widow. Dr. Park's voice was very high. Those are in our database as Class 1 neurotoxins. Really? It just made my hand swell up and hurt for a week. My dad put some ice on it and gave me some pain medicine." Jun looked around at their shocked faces. It wasn't that big a deal. Dr. Han pulled Professor aside and whispered, "We need to test this immediately. If humans really are this resistant to toxins, it changes everything we know about their species." "That's what I was thinking, but how do we test it safely?" "We start with the weakest samples and work our way up, with full medical support standing by." Dr. Han looked back at Jun, "But first, we need to understand how this is possible." Professor pulled up another file on her computer. "I've been researching Earth's environment for the past hour. Han, their planet is covered with deadly creatures. Poisonous snakes, spiders, plants, fish, frogs, even some birds. Humans evolved alongside all of these threats." "Most planets have some dangerous wildlife," Dr. Park said. "Not like this." Professor showed them pictures from Earth's databases. "Look at this. Australia alone has more deadly creatures than entire galactic sectors, and humans live there by choice." Doctor was reading over Professor's shoulder. "It says here that children in Australia are taught about dangerous animals in school. They learn to identify dozens of deadly species before they're 10 years old." "Because they need to know," Jun said. "My cousin lives in Australia. She's always posting pictures of huge spiders and snakes in her backyard. It's just normal life there." Doctor was typing on his own data pad. "I'm pulling up Earth's ecosystem data now. This is incredible. Their oceans have creatures that can kill with one sting. Their forests have plants that cause blindness if you touch them. Even their insects carry deadly diseases." "And humans just live with all of this?" Dr. Han asked. "We don't really have a choice," Jun said. "It's our planet. We learned how to be careful and how to treat problems when they happen." Professor closed her computer and looked at her colleagues. "I think humans didn't just learn to be careful. I think they evolved to survive their world. And that world is so dangerous that it made them nearly immune to toxins that would kill the rest of us." Dr. Han nodded slowly. "If you're right, this is the most important discovery in xenobiology in the last century." "And if I'm wrong?" Dr. Han looked at Jun, who was sitting quietly and patiently waiting for them to finish talking. "If you're wrong, then this young man is the luckiest being in the galaxy. But somehow, I don't think luck explains everything we've heard today." The next morning, Jun found himself in the university's Advanced Medical Research Center. The building was much bigger than the biology department, with white walls and bright lights everywhere. Dr. Han had called him the night before to ask if he would help with some tests. "We need to understand human biology better," Dr. Han had explained. "If you're willing to help us, we can learn something that might be very important for your species and ours." Jun had agreed because he was curious. He also liked Professor and wanted to help her research. Now he sat in a comfortable chair in a room full of medical equipment. Doctor was setting up machines that would watch his heart rate, blood pressure, and other body functions. Dr. Park was preparing very small amounts of different toxins. "Jun, I want you to understand that we're being extremely careful," Professor said. She was wearing a full medical suit with gloves and a face mask. "We're starting with amounts so small that they shouldn't hurt anyone, not even non-humans." "And if something goes wrong?" Jun asked. Doctor pointed to a table covered with medical supplies. "We have antidotes for everything we're testing, plus a full medical team in the next room. You'll be safer here than you would be walking across campus." Dr. Han looked at a data pad with a long list of tests. "We're going to start with caffeine. We know humans consume this regularly, but we want to see exactly how your body processes it." A medical technician brought in a small cup with a clear liquid. "This contains the same amount of caffeine as 1 cup of coffee," she said. Jun drank it quickly. "It tastes like water." The researchers watched their screens carefully. Jun's heart rate went up slightly but stayed in a normal range. After 30 minutes, nothing else happened. Interesting, doctor said. His body processed the caffeine with no stress at all. For comparison, this same amount would make a very sick. Let's try the next test, Dr. Han said. They gave Jun a small amount of alcohol mixed with water, then some nicotine, then a tiny bit of capsaicin, the chemical that makes hot peppers spicy. Jun's body handled all of them easily. This is remarkable, Dr. Park said, looking at her data. His liver is processing these toxins faster than our machines can measure. After 2 hours of simple tests, Dr. Han made a decision. I think we need to try something stronger. Doctor prepared a very small amount of snake venom. It was from an Earth species, but much stronger than what they had been using. Jun, this test is different, Professor said. We're going to inject a tiny amount of venom into your arm. It's much less than what a real snake bite would give you, but it's stronger than anything we've tested so far. Jun rolled up his sleeve. Will it hurt? The injection might sting a little. After that, we're not sure what will happen. Doctor used a very small needle to inject the venom. Jun barely felt it. The researchers watched their screens and waited. After 10 minutes, nothing had happened. Jun felt completely normal. Try a larger dose, Dr. Han said quietly. They injected 10 times more venom. Still nothing. Jun was reading a book while they worked, completely relaxed. This is impossible, Doctor said. The amount we just gave him would kill in minutes. Weigh 500 pounds, Dr. Park added, and they're known for being very tough. Doctor was checking Jun's blood with a special machine. The venom is definitely in his system, but look at this. She showed the others her screen. His body is breaking it down as fast as we inject it. They tried spider venom next, then plant toxins, then chemicals from poisonous fish. Jun's body handled everything without any problems. He didn't even feel sleepy. I think we need to try something much stronger, Dr. Han said. Doctor looked worried. Han, we're already using doses that would hospitalize most galactic species. Are you sure we should go further? Jun, how do you feel? Professor asked. Jun stretched and yawned. I feel fine, a little bored maybe. Is this going to take much longer? I have another class this afternoon. Dr. Han made a decision that surprised everyone. Doctor, prepare a full-strength dose of Earth Cobra venom. Full strength, Doctor's voice was very high. Han, that could kill him. No, I don't think it will, and we need to know for sure. Dr. Han looked at Jun. Jun, we want to try one more test. This one will be much stronger than the others. How much stronger? Strong enough to be dangerous for any other species in the galaxy, Professor said honestly. But based on what we've seen today, I think you'll be fine. Jun thought about it. You really think it's safe? Safe for you? Yes. Safe for anyone else? Definitely not. Jun nodded. Okay, let's do it. Doctor prepared the injection with shaking hands. The amount of venom he was preparing would kill most aliens in seconds. He had never given such a dangerous dose to any living being. Everyone ready? Dr. Han asked. The medical team in the next room was watching through the window. Doctor injected the venom into Jun's arm. This time, Jun felt it immediately. Ow, that stings a bit, he said, rubbing the injection site. It feels warm. The researchers watched their screens with intense focus. Jun's heart rate went up slightly. His blood pressure changed a little, but he remained conscious and alert. After an hour, Jun was still sitting up and talking normally. He complained that his arm felt sore where he got the injection, but that was all. Incredible, Doctor whispered. He just survived a dose of venom that would kill a blue whale. A blue whale from Earth? Jun asked. No, a glacial blue whale from 186F. They're the largest animals in known space. Jun laughed. That's pretty cool, so I'm tougher than a space whale. Dr. Han sat down heavily. Jun, you're tougher than anything we've ever studied. Your species isn't just resistant to toxins, you're practically immune to them. Is that good or bad? Professor looked around at her colleagues. They were all thinking the same thing. If one human could survive toxins that killed the largest creatures in space, what did that say about humanity as a whole? Jun, she said carefully, I think it means your people are much more special than anyone realized, and that's going to change everything. 3 weeks later, the Galactic University was very different. News of the human toxin resistance tests had spread across the entire galaxy. Scientists, government officials, and military leaders from hundreds of worlds wanted to learn more about humans and Earth. Jun walked across the campus toward his biology class, but now things were different. Other students stared at him as he passed. Some looked impressed, others looked scared. A few alien students had started asking him for protection when they went to dangerous parts of the campus. It's weird being famous, Jun said to himself as he entered the lecture hall. The classroom was much more crowded than before. Professor's toxin biology class had become the most popular course at the university. Students who weren't even studying biology wanted to attend. There were also several researchers and news reporters sitting in the back. Professor stood at the front of the room with the same glass case of venom samples. But now everyone looked at those bottles differently. What had once seemed like the deadliest poisons in the galaxy now seemed almost harmless compared to what humans could survive. Good morning, everyone, Professor said. Today we have some special guests who want to discuss the recent discoveries about human biology. Dr. Han entered the room with 2 other people. One was Admiral from the Galactic Defense Force. The other was Dr. Shin, the head of the Galactic Health Organization. Admiral was a tall, serious man with gray hair. He wore the dark blue uniform of the Defense Force. When he spoke, his voice filled the entire room. Students, what we learned about humans 3 weeks ago has changed how the galaxy views Earth and its people. We now know that humans can survive toxins that would kill nearly every other intelligent species. A student raised her hand. Admiral, does this mean humans are dangerous to the rest of us? Not dangerous to you directly, Admiral replied, but it tells us something important about where they come from. Earth is not a normal planet. It's what we now call a death world, a planet so dangerous that only the strongest species can survive there. Dr. Shin stepped forward. We've been studying Earth's environment more carefully. What we found is shocking. Earth has more deadly creatures per square mile than any other planet we've discovered. Humans evolved alongside threats that would wipe out entire populations on other worlds. Jun raised his hand. But Earth isn't that dangerous if you know what you're doing. Humans have been living there for thousands of years. That's exactly the point, Dr. Shin said. You think Earth is normal because it's your home, but to the rest of the galaxy, your planet is a nightmare world where everything wants to kill you. A student spoke up, so humans are like super soldiers. Admiral smiled. In a way, yes. Every human is naturally resistant to toxins that we would use as weapons. They can eat foods that would poison our troops. They can survive in environments that would kill our people in minutes. Professor walked over to her desk and picked up a data pad. We've received reports from human colonies on other planets. Humans are thriving in places where other species need protective equipment. They're working in mines where the air contains chemicals that would be deadly to most of us. What does this mean for the future? Asked Mara, the student from the water world. Dr. Han answered this question. It means humanity will probably become one of the most important species in the galaxy. They can go places we can't go. They can survive things we can't survive. Every government and research organization wants to work with humans now. Jun looked around at his classmates. Many of them were staring at him with something that looked like respect, mixed with fear. I hope this doesn't change how people see us, Jun said. We're still the same people we were before." Admiral nodded. "That's true, Jun, but the galaxy's understanding of your people has changed completely. 3 weeks ago, most governments saw humans as newcomers who needed protection and guidance. Now they see humans as potential allies who might help them explore dangerous parts of space." "Speaking of space exploration," Dr. Shin added, "we've received requests from dozens of worlds asking for human volunteers. There are planets with toxic atmospheres that humans might be able to visit without protective suits. There are research stations in dangerous areas where only humans could work safely." A student from the back of the room raised her hand. "Are humans going to take over the galaxy?" Jun laughed. "We don't want to take over anything. Most humans just want to learn about other worlds and make friends with other species." "That's what makes this discovery so interesting," Professor said. "Humans have incredible natural abilities, but they seem to be one of the most peaceful species we've encountered. They could probably conquer many worlds if they wanted to, but they seem more interested in cooperation and learning." Admiral looked serious again. "That peaceful nature is exactly why the Defense Force wants to work with humans. There are some very dangerous areas of space that we've never been able to explore safely. With human help, we might finally be able to see what's out there." Dr. Han pulled up an image on the main screen. It showed a map of the galaxy with red areas marked as dangerous or unexplored. These red zones contain planets with toxic atmospheres, dangerous radiation, or hostile wildlife. We've lost ships and crews trying to explore them, but humans might be able to visit these places safely. "What if we find other dangerous species in those areas?" asked the student. "Then we'll need humanity's help more than ever," Admiral said. "If Earth produced one species that can survive almost anything, those red zones might contain species that are even tougher." Jun stood up. "I think I speak for most humans when I say we want to help. Earth taught us to work together to survive dangerous situations. We can use those same skills to help explore dangerous parts of space." The room erupted in excited talking. Students from different worlds were discussing what this might mean for their home planets. Some were scared, but most seemed excited about the possibilities. Professor raised her hand for quiet. "Students, I think this is the beginning of a new era in galactic history. Humans have shown us that intelligent life can develop in the most unlikely places. If we work together, we might discover things about the universe that we never thought possible." After class, Jun walked slowly back to his dorm room. Other students continued to stare at him, but now their expressions were different. Instead of looking at him as just another student, they were looking at him as a representative of humanity, a species that had suddenly become one of the most important in the galaxy. His phone buzzed with a message from his uncle back on Earth. "Saw the news about your poison tests on the galactic networks. Your mom is proud but worried. She wants to know if you're eating enough vegetables." Jun smiled. No matter how the galaxy saw humans now, his family would always see him as just Jun, the nephew who forgot to call home often enough. But as he looked up at the stars visible through his dorm window, Jun felt excited about the future. Humanity had been invited to help explore the most dangerous parts of the universe. And maybe, just maybe, they would find other worlds like Earth where life had learned to survive impossible odds. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place.